All right, everybody, welcome to BO Boys for Monday, January 19th. Fuck it, it's a raw feed. We're doing it live, not in studio. I'm Clayton.
Yeah, I'm Pat. Clayton, you say that not in studio, like you are warning everyone up top that this is a lesser BO. And I've got to push back. I'm going to push back to start an episode. I'm going to push back on you and say, this is not a lesser BO. This is a holiday weekend BO. We waited till the Monday so we could do this thing right, BO. And this is honoring a holiday, honoring a legend BO. So this is not a lesser BO. This is full BO. Are you ready for a full BO episode of the BO Boys?
Yeah, I don't think me saying that in any way diminished it.
Okay. I just felt like I had to push back.
I'm in a studio, as you can see back here behind me, my beautiful studio with my player piano back there.
Yeah,
I guess it's a grand piano.
Well, you have the grand piano there. You have the other piano in your bedroom.
Yeah.
You've got a stack of pianos in the basement, along with other things that are in the basement.
I don't get them fixed.
No.
When a piano breaks, I just take it downstairs.
Yep. And you call your guy and you say, time for another one.
Yep.
Time for another one. Nope, I don't want
value
lessons.
Is never really that much anyway, if I'm being honest.
No. Well, it's not like an iPhone.
No.
It's been replaced by iPhones. Back in the day, you had a piano, battery runs out on your piano, you take it to the piano store, trade it in. Now,
and I'm going to tell you a dirty little secret. I do mostly just use my piano app.
Wow.
I rarely use that piano.
Wow. But you know what? It looks great. And we are YouTubers. Hey, guys. And even though we're remote, we try and visually give people just an array, a vast, beautiful smorgasbord behind us. And I think you're pulling it off with that piano. It looks great.
Thank you.
So can you give us, Clayton, a plow for the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday weekend of Friday, January 16th, 2026?
Number one, Avatar Fire and Ash made $14.5 million, down 33%. It lost 400 theaters. It's at $364.7 million in its fifth weekend of release. Number two, A Newbie. 28 years later, The Bone Temple made $13 million in its first frame. Number three, Zootopia 2 made $9.2 million, down only 8%. It lost 100 theaters. It's at $390.4 million in its eighth weekend of release. Number four, The Housemaid made $8.5 million, down only 21%. It lost 22 theaters. It's at $107.1 million in its fifth weekend. Number five, Marty Supreme made $5.4 million, down only 27%. It lost 485 theaters. It's at $79.6 million in its fifth weekend of release. And number six, Primate made $5 million, down 55%. No theater change. It's at $19.6 million in its second weekend of release.
And Greenland 2 Migration, just to go all the way to lucky number 11, 3.4 million, 14 million total. Is this a disaster for Jerry Butler? You know, I know this movie probably didn't break the bank with the budget. It's a Jerry Butler 10-year movie.
Chris Klemmer,
the
great Chris Klemmer, who was on the show last time.
Yep.
Who made sure all the mics were working, the cameras were working, everything was looking good.
Best mic check in the game, Chris
And
Klemmer.
we thank him for that. He said this movie has a $90 million production budget.
So this is a disaster. Is this at a level that it affects Jerry Butler going forward, where people are now even a little hesitant to give Jerry Butler a January actioner?
I don't think so. I think
Okay.
they thought that this could do something because it had been so popular on cable, on streaming, on PVOD, and it's a misfire for sure. I think he's still a steady guy. He seems to be
Hmm.
a guy you can work with because that's why he's continuing to work. This is not great for him for sure. This budget is insane.
Yeah.
Uh, we'll see what it does overseas, what it does downstream. I don't think we see a Greenland 3 in theaters for sure.
No, no. There's no way we're getting Greenland 3, the rebuild, Greenland 4, Green Again. This is it. This is it. This is the end. This is Greenland 2, the end. Um, I think that, listen, we went over a lot of factors here. Migration, it was a confusing subtitle for this movie. We already had a migration a few years ago. We had the animated migration. Was that an Illumination film? Do you
Mm-hmm.
remember Greenland?
With the geese.
The geese. Yeah, it was with the geese and not Geese, the rock band that's going to be on SNL next weekend. It's just animated geese. And I think that was a confusing thing. Greenland 2 migration. Parents are saying, I just saw migration. Is this Jerry Butler doing the voice of a goose? I don't know if I want that. And then otherwise, migration isn't a very action sounding subtitle. You know, it doesn't give off the sort of this is going to be, which it's not, I guess, but it doesn't make you feel like you're going to get to see Jerry Butler punch anyone in the face when something is subtitled migration.
Or they should have just called it Exodus. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a word that a lot of people don't even know what it means, but it's got an E and an X in it.
Yep.
And it sounds like serious.
Yes.
Migration
Yes.
sounds slow. It sounds like it's logistical.
Yes.
Exodus sounds biblical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Migration sounds like this movie's going to be 3.5 hours or a documentary
Mm-hmm.
when that's the subtitle. Yeah. Exodus. And you just like giant X
Yeah.
on the poster. And then you do Greenland 2, Exodus, like Beasts and Monsters, something like that. Because I feel like after Exodus, you're expecting another subtitle that goes even deeper than that.
Sure. I mean, I think the poster size, you got to think about fonts.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
you got to think about the ability of people to read.
Yes. Yes. Keep all that in mind. So I would
Because do you
go.
know that most Americans cannot read more than two sentences if they're stacked on top of each other?
Okay. Is this a new survey that went out, or a new and a reading comprehension test that
Princeton.
you partook in? Wow. Okay.
Princeton
Okay.
University did a study,
Wow. Okay.
and they gave
I
people they stacked sentences, and people stopped at two mostly.
they stopped
They
at the
so
second.
they mostly stopped at two to check their phone. So it's not really
Mm,
that they can't read it; it's that they don't want to.
right. Okay. So you want to stop at 2 subtitles because after that point, people will check their phones. So
Yeah.
I would go, yeah, migration to Exodus Beasts and Monsters, and then you stop. You
Hmm.
stop there. I think that would have, listen, would it have covered a $90 million production budget with better subtitling? Probably not, but I think it gets you closer. I think it
Hmm.
gets you closer. So that's a Primate at number 6. Listen, we were hoping for this movie to be a giant, open at 30, be Megan level sensation. That didn't happen, but second weekend drop of 55% for a horror movie. This could have been a lot worse, especially with Bone Temple coming out. This could have been a Jared Leto level, 72% plus drop, and that didn't
Which you think
happen.
is fine for him because you've done ayahuasca with him once.
have not done ayahuasca with him. Have we been around each other unknowingly when ayahuasca was done? Speculate there. But this isn't a situation where we carpool to the ayahuasca house. That did not happen. That's something that you are spreading. We did not carpool there, and we did not carpool together, and we did not share a bucket.
Okay.
Did not share a bucket.
I've seen the bucket on eBay.
Okay. Well, that
It has your name there. It's way far down.
Then I'm going to have to see. eBay should not be verifying that. They should not be verifying that product as a shared B.O. Boy Pat and Jared Leto shared ayahuasca puke bucket. If they're verifying that, then that's on eBay, and that's their AI screwing up.
It's a full list of who used that bucket, and I'll tell you what, it doesn't look pretty for Pat.
Okay, I'm going to have to go check eBay right now. They should not be verifying that.
See if you can outbid the Drudge Report.
Listen, I will get that bucket back in my possession as soon as this episode is over. But Primate did not have that kind of drop, 70% plus. I mean, I guess it's starting from a lower place, but do you take this at all as a good sign for word of mouth on this movie? Because again, we loved Ben the Primate, who is a chimp, not a gorilla. Okay, whatever. But we loved him. Do you think that audiences are starting to tell other people about Ben?
No, I mean, are you saying that you expect this to start doing better business like next weekend?
There's no new horror next weekend, so it's not going to take a hit from this new Bone Temple, which we'll get to.
Here's what I'm going to say.
Okay.
And I've said this before, and look at number 3, Zootopia 2. Down only 8%.
Wow.
Primate, and listen, I always get on you for spoiling stuff, but we did have to spoil a certain section of Primate because it was one of the reasons we thought this movie could do 40 million, 50 million.
Yeah. We thought it would be a single white female tribute scene. And I guess spoiler alert. Here we go. There is not a blowjob. There is not the chimp blowing and then killing someone a la single white female. That does not happen in Primate. End of spoiler alert.
So with that, the perverts are getting their jollies at Zootopia 2. They've cast out Primate, and I think the people left behind, I don't think it has enough cultural penetration. I don't think Ben is penetrating the culture enough for this movie to break out. Plus, you have 2 other movies that are really holding strong and maybe getting multiple views, multiple trips to the box office to see these movies. So I think it's really stiff competition for Ben. So Primate 2, and I think there can be, because the budget on this one was not $90 million.
Yes.
Primate 2, you have that blowjob scene.
Yes. Well, they didn't know. Listen, when they were in production, they didn't know how the trailer would be cut to clearly imply the blowjob scene. And they didn't know that the BO boys would pick up on it and get that theory out there in such a wide way. You couldn't know that when you're actually producing the movie, but now you know that ahead of producing the sequel, you know that is out there, that the people are abuzz, and they want us to be buzz, and they know that. So I do think they will incorporate that in Primate 2.
I think it's called Primate 2, Ben Goes Down.
Yes. Ben Goes Down, Exodus.
Yeah, why not?
Remember, but don't go past that.
Yeah.
According to Princeton, two subtitles.
Because now I'm on my phone.
So I'm also on my phone, but it's because I'm reading a message that we got from our OG wannabe old girl, because she saw Primate this weekend. So she saw Ben, and the OG wannabe old girl said, Ben is a star. What a great movie. The script hits every beat. I came for faces getting ripped off, and it delivered. And that she also did say, speaking of phones, I love how every modern horror movie is about not having access to your phone. There truly is no greater horror. Now, this is a person who, listen, she sees everything she loves movies. Not horror isn't her main predilection, I would say, but she loved this because she loved Ben. And, this is a second weekend viewing. This is a person who's going to get out there, tell people how great Ben is. I think there's a chance, if not for this movie, Ben's reputation will grow in the coming years.
Well, I mean, this is going to be such a fun, and listen, we're not the Streamo Boys, huh? This will be on PVOD very shortly, I'm assuming. Yeah. It's going to go on streaming not too far after that. I mean, and this is going to be on Paramount Plus, though. I was thinking why did I think it was Universal and it'd be on the Cox? So it's going to be on Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
Which is bad. But it's still a streamer that some people have.
It'll be okay. So now Paramount Plus, if we break, and we are not the Strumo Boys, but here's a streaming minute. Their big thing is that they paid $50 billion or whatever it is, and now they have UFC. So they're all in on UFC, and they also have the Taylor Sheridan shows until he leaves for the Cock in a couple of years. So
they have all these charismatic stars of the UFC.
Yes, all of these. Yeah,
that one guy who looks like a rat person, and
that
other guy who looks like a Russian enforcer.
Yes. Well, there's also the guy who's in shorts standing next to another guy who's also in shorts.
Those two really pop.
Yes. And then there's the UFC woman who looks mean.
Yeah.
And I love that poster when you got her face to face with a different UFC woman who also looks mean, and they're both wearing the same plain black outfits with no uniqueness to it, and none of them have any visible charisma. So you've got them.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they paid $50 billion for all that. That does have an audience, right? The UFC, there's people who love seeing these rat people who look at each other in black trunks and have no charisma. And there's an audience for that. Do you think that audience, when they're scrolling through the thumbnail and they're scrolling through, here's two people looking at each other, here's two people looking at each other, now here's Ben, Primate. Do you think that UFC audience is going to then tap into Primate on Paramount Plus? Or are they going to say this Ben, he has too much charisma. It's scaring me that someone is actually interesting looking on my thumbnails on Paramount Plus.
I think that might be a turnoff.
Yeah. I mean, he does rip off faces. So I think you've got to communicate that once it gets to Paramount Plus. Hey, UFC fan, I know Ben the Monkey, he's got too much charisma for you, but he does rip off faces, so you like that.
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like Ben, say you let Ben loose in the UFC, right? Because we talked about promoting it.
Yeah.
I feel like he would leave their faces because they're so boring. Like, there's not even anything fun for him to rip off. Like, that's the thing about those faces is I know he loves to rip off faces, but I think he loves to rip off interesting people's faces.
Actors' faces, yeah, who seem like they have something going on in their heads. Yeah, is he going to want to rip off the face of someone who clearly doesn't have a thought in their head?
Well, Ben will look at these UFC fighters' faces and be like, "There's no face there.
There's no face. There's nothing.
It's just sort of like a fuzz.
Yeah, it's like a pancake. It's like I'm looking at a pancake.
Yeah. So that would be one of those promotions that would just be a failure.
Well, I don't know. I would still try it. The next UFC numbered event, because UFC, of course, doesn't have like cool subtitle names for their events. It's just like UFC 4015. Mm-hmm. That's how you know what giant show you're watching, is a number. And I would still send Ben and get him all hopped up hopped up on goobers, extra rabies, whatever he needs, put him in the cage and let him loose. And then I would raise the cage and just let him go wild in the audience.
Yeah.
Let Ben just go wild in this UFC audience and see what happens. I think that would be great promotion for Primate on Paramount Plus. Is like, let him do his thing in the cage and then let him do his thing in the crowd. I mean, here's UFC is supposedly, or I think it is set, they're holding one of their numbered events, their biggest number, an even number. They're doing it in the White House in July. That's a set thing. It's going to be on Paramount Plus. I think that's where you let Ben go wild.
Yeah.
Is you set Ben off. We're about to start UFC 3712 at the White House on the lawn. First, here's Ben, and we've popped him up on goobers, and he's going to get to go hang out with everyone and do whatever he wants to do.
I'd love to see it.
I love to see it. Yeah, because it would be great promotion for the streaming debut of Primate. I would love to see Ben get let loose at UFC, whatever, at the White House.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great promotion.
Great promotion. Great promotion for a streaming movie debut. So that is Primate. Let us touch quickly, because we got to get to this Bone Temple, and I got boots on the ground. Marty Supreme, number 5, is now the highest grossing A24 film of all time. It passed Everything Everywhere. It's now at 79 million. Everything Everywhere, I think, was 77 domestic.
Can I cut the shit real quick?
Yes, please do.
The people who are still pounding the drum that this thing is a failure, and they talk about the budget versus the box office and everything. Okay, when we talk about something like Greenland 2, $90 million for a movie that is going to take a very, very long time for it to make its money back. Marty Supreme is an A24 movie about a ping pong player in the 1950s, and it made more movie. Here we go. Raw feed. Fuck it, we're doing it live. Made more money than One Battle After Another, which was a Leo movie.
Mm-hmm.
Right? This movie is a hit, and people love it. And the idea that, well, this was just propped up by a lot of marketing and he did so much stupid shit. That's what you have to do, dummy. That's what you have to do. You have to go on Cody Rhodes' podcast, right? You have to have a blimp.
Yes.
You have to go on all these shows and do these things in order to let people know that your movie exists. And I think this is nuts. Also, this movie is not in as many theaters as some of the other big movies like Zootopia 2 or Avatar or 28 Years Later. And it's having minuscule drops. Like, this is a movie that now is going to go into Oscar season, and it's going to get bigger bumps because it's going to be nominated for a ton of awards. And he's going to be the front runner. Mm-hmm. This is a hit movie. This is big, people. Like, this is not a joke. And people need to know that.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That was some cutting the shit. We haven't cut the shit in a long time, and you saved it for the perfect pile of shit because you sliced and diced that shit. In fact, we have an email that I want to get to on Marty Supreme from the great wannabe oh boy Max, who's been on the show. He does festival coverage for us. Subject of Max's email: Marty Supreme outgrosses cocktail (parentheses USA). So Max writes, Kirk, and of course he means the great podcast Jesus Kirk Minahan. Kirk said Timmy isn't a star until he has a hit as big as Cocktail, and now Marty has made more domestic box office than Cruise back in the day. Can Kirk comment on this or release an official statement? And of course, Max is talking about an episode that Kirk Minahan guested on the BO Boys. I think it was back in the time of the release of the Bob Dylan movie,
Complete Unknown.
Complete Unknown. So we had the great podcast Jesus, Kirk Minahan. He's talking about Timmy's a Star, and he said, held up Cocktail as the example. Now, Cocktail in 1988 made $70 million domestic, and Marty Supreme is now at 79 and counting. And Kirk held that up as the example because Cocktail was just a movie about come see Tom Cruise, be a bartender, flip glasses around, pour vodka into a glass. And you look at Marty Supreme, this is no IP. The only draw is, do you want to see Timmy play ping pong?
Yes.
And so this is the Cocktail. You know, this is the example. Now, of course, people are going to bring up inflation. We don't do inflation on this show, but I did look it up. 70 million in 1988 is 190 million now. So sure. But we don't do inflation. There's a lot of streaming. There's competition for movies that Tom Cruise and Cocktail didn't have to deal with in 1988. Marty Supreme wasn't going up against Cocktail wasn't going up against Netflix, wasn't going up against The Rip, wasn't going up against YouTube and all that.
And also, movies are not the center of the culture the way they were at that time.
Yes,
movies are just one other thing that you can go to. The fact that so many people chose to go see a ping pong movie set in the 1950s.
Instead of looking at their phone. You know, back in 1988, and Tom Cruise, all-time movie star, God bless him, but Cocktail wasn't competing with people looking at their phone. In 1988, if someone said, I think I'm going to stay home, I'm not going to go to the movie because I just want to look at my phone.
Yeah.
They would be put into an institution.
Yeah.
Immediately.
We would call it the Nut House back then, but we wouldn't do that now. We wouldn't call it the Looney Bin now. We would call it a facility.
No, we wouldn't call it the Box of Cracker Jacks. We would not call that now, but back then we would have.
But also, they would have there would be facilities for them to go to and get the help that they need, which you couldn't do now.
Yes. So that is the thing. You couldn't look at your phone instead of going to see a movie when Cocktail was out. That would be you were just holding up a receiver and staring at it. And I guess you could have swiped it then. Just swipe your thumb up and down your phone receiver for hours at a time. But yes, you're getting removed from your house, if that's what you said. I'm going to look at my phone. The guys are coming
with the big net.
Yes. 100%. So Cocktail didn't have to compete with people staring at their phone. Marty Supreme did. Marty Supreme has now made more than Cocktail domestically. Now listen, the great as it relates to the question and relates to Kirk, of course, taking some time off. He's focusing on he's announced season 3 of The Case. He's solving a new murder. He said he will be back. He'll be back hopefully on this show for Kirk 20 sometime soon. But I'd love for him to release an official statement. I mean, I know even though as he's solving the murder, he is listening to every episode of the BO Boys. I would love for him to just take a few minutes from solving a murder to release a statement about Marty Supreme and about Cocktail, but I can't promise it because he is solving a murder right now. He's got a lot going on. But, Podcast Jesus, if you could, you could rise statement about Cocktail and Marty Supreme, and then you could go back. If possible, that would be great. The wannabe O boys, wannabe O girls, wannabe O people. And the Minifans, they would love to hear that statement about Cocktail.
So Marty Supreme is a hit.
Yep.
Stop denying it. Just because you don't like who he dates. All right, people.
Yes, people.
Let's talk about this Housemaid too. I mean, this movie. If Zootopia wasn't going so nuts, Housemaid would be the story.
Yes.
Like, Housemaid would be these holds. 21%. This thing's over 100. And this is a movie I don't think is stopping anytime soon. Like, I do think this is a movie that people are going to see, have already seen several times, and will continue to see. Again, Zootopia 2, perverts are out. They're
Mm-hmm.
feasting. The
Mm-hmm.
perverts are eating right now.
Yes, they're eating up there.
Let's get to this total disaster at number 2.
Okay.
28 years later, The Bone Temple. I nailed this. I completely nailed this.
Yep.
Avatar did not make 15, but it was very close. And 28 years later, I think I said 13.
Yeah, I think you said. I think you
So
did.
my finger is on the pulse
Yeah, I had
of
15. I had 15.
the
But
zombie going fans, but you also said it was going to be number 1.
did I? No, I had that was Chris Clemmer. The great Chris Clemmer, the great Mr. Soundcheck.
I
He was the only
believe
one who
you
had it number
said
1.
this was going to be number 1.
I had Avatar like at 16 or 17, and I had Bone Temple right behind it. Clemmer did have Bone Temple number 1. That was the big difference between all of us. Go back in the archives. Go back in the archives.
I don't believe you.
Okay. You don't have to believe me. It doesn't matter to me whether you do or you don't, because I'm going to say what I'm going to say anyway.
Well, so this is bad.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
It's down 53% from the opening of the first one.
Yeah, the first one made 28 or 29. Okay, let's break down how bad this is. I mean, listen, 13 million in 3 days. Sony obviously wanted more. They're doing a trilogy, the reboot trilogy, requel trilogy. This was always going to be a drop off from the one that came out last June, the Danny Boyle directed one, for a few reasons. The one that came out in June, that was a lot of pent up, I don't know if it's demand, but at least a lot of pent up interest, because that franchise had been dormant for what, 20 years?
It was a franchise that they never thought they'd see another one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And reason being, the second one ate so much S that there was no reason to make another one.
Right. It was back in the day when you'd have a movie and you'd have a sequel and then you'd forget about it. You know, and I think that's what the 28 movies were okay, a little bit of an indie hit zombie movie. We made the sequel didn't break out, and good night and good luck. That's the end. And then there's a new one came out. It had the great trailer with that, poem being read in the background over and over again. Everyone went crazy for the trailer. Everyone was excited for the franchise to come back. People thought Cillian Murphy was a zombie because there was an extra who looked like him that was in the trailer. It was a June movie. Danny Boyle was back. There was a lot going for that movie that was not going to be replicated with this Bone Temple sequel. That was just impossible to carry over.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the other thing about that the 28 years later is people didn't love it.
No.
It wasn't enough of a wild, crazy, fun zombie movie. It wasn't that at all. It was a drama.
It was an Alex Garland special.
It was an Alex. And listen, I like that film. You haven't seen it.
General audiences don't love Alex Garland films.
Okay.
They don't.
Civil War was a hit. Got to give him Civil War. Got to like 70-something million.
I won't give him that, no.
Okay. But I get what you mean. They're not populist crowd pleasers.
No. He does not give... Listen, artists don't give people what they want. They give them what they need.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The only problem is when you're in this realm, when you're franchising a horror film, you do sort of need to give the public a little bit more of what they want. The general public. I
Yes.
think if you want this to be a cash cow, and that's what Sony wanted it to be. So that's the problem here. I'm not saying don't be artistic, but I'm saying like there's something about trying to make this franchise into Final Destination when it won't be. And the audiences are gonna turn away. Like they wanted, for some reason, they thought that 28 years later was gonna be really super fun because they're like, well, they're franchising this, and of course there's gonna be something that I'd want, and then there wasn't, and so they rejected this movie.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is the main thing that happened here is all of the enticements that opened that last one in June weren't here. Plus, the people who saw the one in June didn't get a thrill ride. They didn't get a hero. And listen, we talked about the star of the first one ended up being the little kid Spike. And I like Spike. He's a good little kid. He's in this one too. He's not a hero, big new star. And I'm not putting this on this little British kid. But they didn't have someone where, oh man, now I can't wait to see this action horror star continue his adventures in the Bone Temple.
It's not Jacob Tremblay.
No, it's not Jacob Tremblay. And again, we're not putting this on the shoulders of this little British kid. He's a good little kid.
Why not? Why are you sticking up for this kid? He's in a movie.
So you're ready to just annihilate this old British kid who's played Spike in these 28 years movies. This is on him.
I'm not saying it's on him. I'm just saying that if you want to make this a franchise, you think about those things.
Yeah.
They're probably kicking themselves that this kid from Adolescent, they couldn't have cast him.
Yeah.
They're wishing they would have got him in the cattle call, whatever creepy cattle call they did to find this British kid, who I'm sure is fine.
Or monster, who knows?
Or he's a monster, yeah. Or he's a total brat who doesn't put his toys away. I don't know.
I don't know. We don't know, and we shouldn't know.
No.
But yeah, if they would have got that kid from Adolescence, and then Adolescence drops over the summer and he wins all the Emmys, and boom, now he's in Bone Temple. Sure, that the opening weekend probably does significantly better with that kid. So sure, the kid who played Spike, it's on him for not having popped in a streaming series in between movies, for sure.
It's not on him. It's on the casting director.
Okay. So that was a problem with this. Ray Fiennes. Now, in the first one or the last one, the 28 years later in June, Ray Fiennes is sort of a second back half of the movie surprise. And then he is, as we see in the trailer, one of the stars of this movie. Now listen, boots on the ground. I saw this film last night with my wife, parentheses Borat. Saw this movie. Ray Fiennes is, and we're not critics, but really is just one of the most, I mean, you talk about those UFC fighters having no charisma. Ray Fiennes is about as charismatic of a actor as we have these days. Just the most watchable person. But I guess there's a ceiling for what he brings in as a star. And he's not someone who's going to open a movie at 30 million.
No.
But he's a steady presence, and he's about as entertaining as it gets.
I don't think anybody's ever upset when he's in a movie.
No.
He's not like a Pete Holmes, noxious presence.
Or
a Kumail.
You would be upset. Yeah, when you see a Pete Holmes, when you see a Kumail,
if you
upsetting.
walk into a Bone Temple and Kumail's, there, his shirt off, all juiced up. I'm sorry, all
chicken and broccoli.
Sorry.
Yeah. Those are chicken and broccoli pimples on the back there. Those are chicken and broccoli pimples.
Yeah, boiled chicken and broccoli really does break me out.
Yeah, does a number on your back knee for sure.
Yeah.
No, if that's, of course, if it's him, if it's Pete Holmes, those are noxious presences. Those are audience turnoffs. Ray Fiennes is, oh, this is great. Ray Fiennes in this movie, but he's not necessarily getting that younger demo, that Megan demo to rush out opening weekend
Yeah.
and get this to 30 million again. Yeah, I think there is just a downturn that we expected. And I think Sony, I think they wanted more, but I don't think they ever had in their business plan that this also had to open to 28 million plus to be viable.
Yeah, I mean,
But this
13
is
is bad though, Pat.
It's
and
bad.
Losing to Avatar 8, what is it? How many weeks in?
Weekend 5.
Weekend 5. That's rough stuff.
Yeah.
Listen, Avatar is a steamroller. We know this. People want to live in that world. People don't want to live in a world with a bone temple.
Mm-hmm.
Right? People want to live in a furry paradise with a fascist regime controlling it. Zootopia.
Okay. Yeah.
So those movies are popular. These movies, I think, and you mentioned by the virtual water cooler. We both pulled out our water cooler apps and we're by the water cooler talking to each other.
Mm-hmm.
A- cinema score for this, right?
Yeah, good score.
Here's the problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
The only people who saw this movie are the people who really wanted to see this movie. And it gave them what they wanted, but the general public doesn't want what they want. So an A- means Jack S for this movie, because these people are going to go to their friends and be like, I saw Bone Temple. They're like, stop, I don't want to hear about this movie. You were telling me about how you wanted to see it, and then you went to see it, and that's enough. You saw it. Shut up. I don't care.
It got
I'm
a
not
72. It got a 72% definite recommend on ComScore, and you think that is not helpful at all.
Pat, just because you recommend something doesn't mean anybody's going to listen, right? So these idiots are going to definitely recommend. I'm sorry, not idiots. I'm just looking at you, and I was thinking, I'm sorry, that's rude.
Yeah,
but,
it's rude on several levels.
Yeah, it's rude on several levels. But these bozos are
these bonzos.
These
bonzos, yes,
are going to recommend this to their friends, and their friends are going to tell them to shut up.
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up.
And again, that's nothing against the quality of this movie. I haven't seen it. I've heard from the people who wanted to see it and wanted more of the first movie. They got what they wanted, but the general public doesn't want it.
Yeah.
And can I just say something really quick?
Go for it.
Nia DaCosta, okay, director of this movie,
okay,
is going to get so much unearned crap the same way she got crap about the Marvels. It's just a bummer because this is such a bad situation to be in, because we knew the drop-off was going to happen. We knew there was going to be people who didn't see this because Alex Garland wasn't directing it, right?
Well, Danny Boyle.
Sorry.
Garland wrote all of these movies, yeah.
You're right. I'm sorry. Danny Boyle.
Yeah.
Danny Boyle didn't direct it. So it's just going to be like, what am I supposed to do? Like, what if I'm her? I'm thinking, well, what the hell am I supposed to do? It's almost impossible to get an independent movie made. I'd have to do a movie for $100,000 or something, and I'm doing these big budget movies that look good. At least this one does, and then I'm just gonna get shit on. So I think that's sad.
Yeah, I hope she doesn't get shit on. I think there are, and it is a weird anomaly where she has now directed 2 sequels recently that have done significantly less than their predecessor. But the Marvels is totally its own thing because it's the MCU machine.
Yeah.
That was a disaster that she was just basically, a middle manager for. And in all honesty, when you're directing a Marvel movie, it's basically you're there to do some paperwork. So
the only people who get full creative freedom are the Pizza Bros because they earned it when they directed that Community episode.
Yes,
The
paintball
D&D
episode.
Community episode, when they directed that, it was like
It's
that
cinema.
was their blank check forever.
Yes. And they also directed the sequel to the paintball episode.
That's right.
Sequel to that. So both paintball episodes.
Oh, so there was a D&D episode and a paintball episode.
Yes, those were the biggest things that have ever aired on TV is those.
So that's
episodes of
Godfather
Community.
1 and 2.
Yes, rolled into one. Yeah, that listen, the Pizza Bros blank checks for life because of their directing on Community.
Yeah.
Comedy Night done right. Which is much more famous than Must See TV as far as NBC comedy blocks. So they're the auteurs within the MCU. Everyone else, Nia DaCosta directing the Marvels. It's basically she's coming in and filling out some forms for them. She has no say over whether that movie is good or a disaster. I think the thing going for her hopefully keeps her from catching a lot of shit on this movie is the Bone Temple is really good. It's getting good reviews. It's not going to be looked at like the Marvels where this movie bombed and it's also terrible.
Yes.
I think the Bone Temple is going to be looked at as a really good movie that did not make as much as the last one. It's going to make, by the nature of whether it's inflation or just the movies, these have a brand now. It's the second biggest opener in the overall series of the four. Obviously, those first ones were indie movies and smaller. Yeah.
I mean, but my big thing again, because I want to reiterate this because I'm not against art. I like movies that are artful. I like art at the cinema. And
you're not an artist fart guy. You're not one of those guys.
No, I'm not one of those guys.
Graffiti's art on the side of a wall, and then you come by and you put an F in front of it.
No, I don't. I won't say I've never done it, but I haven't done it in my adult life, I'll say.
Mm-hmm. Great.
So the thing with that is that when you want to when you try to franchise and you try to commercialize, like Sony did, they were scrounging for IP. That's the long and short of it.
Yep.
And they were able to get Danny Boyle, who was down on he was in a low period, this Danny Boyle. Alex Garland was doing his thing, so he was at a higher level, but they were able to get him. And so they were like, yeah, let's franchise this bitch, is what they thought. They're like, yeah, Fast and Furious, let's do it. Yep. And then Alex Garland and Danny Boyle were like, well, we don't do Fast and Furious. This is what we do. And then the audience got excited for some reason, and then now they're not excited. And this very minuscule amount of people who love these movies, which has expanded since it has expanded a little bit, but not much, not what Sony wanted. They like the product they're getting, but it's not enough to make it a huge hit.
So you talked about Danny Boyle coming back. We talked about Alex Garland coming back. I'm going to issue now a spoiler warning because there is an element we have to talk about. So spoiler alert. If you don't want to be spoiled on something that happens in the Bone Temple, spoiler. Come back in a couple of minutes. All right, here we go. Warning issued. We have to talk about, Clayton, the end of the Bone Temple. Final scene, returning to the franchise, is Cillian Murphy. Oppenheimer himself comes into the movie. Playing himself with the Oscar. No, he's playing Jim from the original 28
from The Office.
Weeks later. For Jim from The Office, yes. There's a zombie, runs by. We see Cillian Murphy. He looks straight into the camera, does one of these. That's why you got to watch it on YouTube. We did the Jim face. No, he plays Jim from the first movie. So Cillian Murphy is back. They're setting up that part 3 will be his movie. Part 1 was Aaron Taylor Johnson and Spike. Part 2 is Ray Fiennes. Part 3 is going to be Cillian Murphy is back as Jim. He's been surviving all these years. Answer the question. He survived. So he's back. Does that, let's say part 3, 28 years later, the Jim Temple opens either next summer or a summer movie, or I think it should be an October movie. Go Halloween on this. But when that third one opens and it's Cillian Murphy is the star, does that bump us back up? I'm not saying this is Tom Cruise, not Timmy, but
Sydney
do we
Sweeney.
get a bump up? It's not Sydney Sweeney, who I've always said is a huge star. I've always been in her corner.
Check the website. Go to the website. Check the website.
Believe
He's
me,
lying.
just
Check
listen
the
to what I
website.
say. Just listen to what I say. So Cillian Murphy being back in this franchise, I'll say right now, I do think we're getting an upswing, and I think that will be enough to get people excited. Not everyone, this is not a Marvel movie, but I think the fans of the franchise will get more excited for that than they were for this second one.
But Pat, again, you said fans of the franchise, which are small.
Open to 30, the last one. I'm saying if we look at that as the high watermark of the fandom, I think, could we get back to that number because Cillian Murphy's here, because it is the finale? I think that's, the first and the last ones are going to be worth more than the middle entry. And now you got the biggest star in the franchise back. And he is Oppenheimer. Cillian Murphy.
That does not matter. That matters so zero at all. Does not matter. That movie was Nolan. That's Nolan.
For why it was a hit, sure. It's the bomb, it's Nolan, and it's Greta Gerwig. Those are the reasons that Oppenheimer is a hit.
Barbie.
So those are the main three factors. But I do think Cillian Murphy leaves that movie, leaves Barbenheimer a bigger star, a more mainstream name than he ever has been.
Pat, what has he done since? He did a Netflix
kept himself
movie?
special. He's been waiting.
No, he didn't keep himself special. He did a Netflix movie. He's in a Netflix movie, and he's doing more Peaky Blinders. This guy is Adrian Brody.
No, he is not Adrian Brody.
It'll matter.
Cillian Murphy is not Adrian Brody.
Zero
he is not Adrian
to the
Brody.
general
this
public.
Is absurd.
Oppenheimer means zero.
This is absurd.
No.
Cillian Murphy is not Adrian Brody. He is a more like Adrian Brody.
Pat,
is
let me ask you a
every
question.
time he wins an Oscar, makes himself a more disliked figure. Adrian Brody is more popular in the years when you forget he's won an Oscar, then he wins an Oscar and he makes a fool of himself and he's got to go away for 10 years. That's where Adrian Brody's at. Cillian Murphy, I think, is just a really well-liked guy who's been in movies. People like him. Oppenheimer is a giant hit. It's his face in front of the bomb. He wins the Oscar, makes a nice speech with the accent, the Irish accent. I think he is a liked figure to audiences, and he's more known than he ever has been because of Oppenheimer.
More known, I'll agree with. I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
How do you pronounce Tom Cruise?
Tom Cruise.
Right. How do you pronounce Cillian Murphy?
Cillian Murphy or Cillian
Are you sure?
Murphy.
Which one is it? Is it Cillian or Killian? Which one is it, Pat?
How do you pronounce Timmy's last name?
Timothy Chalamet.
Oh, is it not Chalamet? As a Mets fan, my inclination might be, that's Chalamet.
Okay, Ricky Gervais taking a piss over here.
Holding
right,
a
having
beer
a laugh
on stage.
You know what I'm getting at. You don't even know if you're pronouncing this gentleman's name correctly. He cannot be a star if you don't know for sure. We know how to say Timothy Chalamet. We learned how to say Jenna Ortega, okay? Cillian, we don't know, and no one else knows either.
Oh.
He is not a guy who puts butts in seats. In this specific thing, he may have more general interest because he was in the first one and they're going to bang that drum.
Yes.
Right? But I still don't think people want what this franchise is serving them. And it won't open as big as the first one did in this trilogy. It'll open bigger than Bone Temple, but it's not going to open bigger than the first one.
I think you're underestimating how I think the name thing doesn't matter whether people say Cillian Murphy or Cillian Murphy. You know what they're going to say? They're either going to say, hey, Jim is back in the movie, or they're going to say Oppenheimer is back in the movie. They're not even going to worry about whether I can pronounce Cillian, Killian. They're going to say, dude, guess who's going to be in the next 28 years later movie? Oppenheimer's back. And they're saying, oh, Oppenheimer was in the original one. Yeah, Oppenheimer was in the original one, and now Oppenheimer lived the whole time, and now Oppenheimer's back.
And you know
that
what
is how people are going to say.
They're going to say, oh, is there a second Barbie movie I can go see before I have to see this other movie with Cillian Murphy in it? There isn't? Oh, wait. She's doing Narnia movies? What? Why?
Get this out. Okay. We know Greta Gerwig's Narnia movie is opening next November, right? It's going to have an IMAX release. Could be in theaters. Get 28 years later, Oppenheimer's back. Get that into theaters the same time as Narnia. Let's do Barbenheimer all over again with Narnia and the last 28 years later movie. That's the play. Let's run it back. Let's run it back with Oppenheimer and Greta Gerwig. And people could say Oppenheimer is back in the 28 years later movies. And I could see Narnia. Let's run it back in November. That's a Thanksgiving.
Danny Boyle ain't Nolan and Narnia ain't Barbie, my friend.
We're going to see. All I'm saying is I do think this franchise is going to end on an upswing from this one. I think there's a chance it gets near the opening of the one that came out in June because Oppenheimer's back. Jim from The Office is back in this. Cillian. Doesn't matter if you know how to pronounce his name. You just say Oppenheimer's back.
All right.
I think it'll be an upswing. We'll see. And then Avatar's Avatar at number 1.
Is there a chance that movie goes to Paramount Plus exclusively?
No, I do not think so. I listen. I get the thought of that.
Cut it up into a TV show?
No. I don't think you. I am sure when Boyle and Garland came back, they probably had. Is it Ironclad? I hope so, but I think they had agreements. Listen, if this Bone Temple opens at $5 million, sure, but it opens at 13, 15 for the 4-day. I don't think they're breaking the bank with these zombie movies that are mostly set in 3 locations. I think it's getting a theatrical release with Oppenheimer back in the movie.
All right.
I think so. I would.
Listen, hope so.
Anything could happen, but I near guarantee it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want anything to go straight to Streamo.
Yeah. Yeah, and got it, because then it would go to Paramount Plus. It'd be next to all the UFC stuff. I think you do a promotion.
Oh, then you've got Cillian Murphy, and he's going around like a ring girl. He's got to hold the numbers up, and he's like, to say he's half in the bag is being nice. This guy's just blitzed out of his mind.
Yeah, now you're asking him to hold up around 3.
Yeah, because he's puking in the middle of the octagon.
You know what? I think that would liven up those UFC shows if you got Cillian Murphy, let him drink all weekend, and then just he gets to go in the middle of the ring and just yak up, just puke up in the middle of a UFC ring. I think that would be good promotion for everyone involved.
Yeah, I'd do a free trial.
Yeah, totally. If you told me Cillian Murphy was just going to come in the middle of the UFC ring and just puke all over the place and then leave, sure, I'm signing up for that. And then you let Primate loose. You let Ben loose in the crowd. That's a good show.
Yeah.
So that is the box office. Clay, we got a couple of emails about the timing of our episodes. And of course, today we are doing the episode on a Monday because it's a holiday weekend. But normally, as we talk to Chris Klemmer, we do our weekend recap episodes on a Sunday, and I've been dropping them for like 8 a.m. Eastern on Monday. And Chris Klemmer pushed back because he likes getting them on a Sunday in the middle of the night. We got an email from someone named Josh Wannabeo. Oh no, this is Wannabeo Bailey. So Wannabeo Bailey writes, given Mr. Late Night some love. He said, you are forcing Barstool's number one draw, who is up past midnight paying his sewer bills and cleaning the vanity, to have to listen to how stuff works on a cement mixer or elevator brakes when he should be enjoying a plow and critical information on whether the sequel to Weapons will be called Weapon or Weapons 2 : Toddler Time, from Wannabe Bailey. So he is saying drop in the middle of the night. That is what Wannabe Bailey is saying.
Is that what he's saying?
That is what he's saying. That email,
he saying, Pat?
He's saying drop it in the middle of the night.
Okay.
That is what that email was from the great Wannabe Bailey. So thank you for that. Got another email on this subject from looks like his name
Hagar
is
the Horrible?
From Haddock. Okay. So Haddock writes, subject timing. I prefer Sunday night drops, please. Also, Clayton's dismissiveness of 28 years later is troubling. It's a movie with depth that happens to have zombies in it. Jackass.
Wait, he's saying
email.
that my dismissing of these movies. Oh, yeah, so they're of course, like, I'm sorry, these movies are like the highest form of art. I apologize.
I love that email. I loved it because he had very clear on what he wanted. He wanted the episodes to drop in the middle of the night, and then strongly calls Clayton out and calls him a jackass.
Well, here's what I'll say to this guy.
This fan of the show, listener, beloved listener.
When someone calls you a jackass, do you consider them a fan of you?
What would you say to Johnny Knoxville?
He's not calling me a jackass.
But I'm saying, if you're a fan of Johnny Knoxville, I'd see him in the street and I'd yell out jackass because I love him so much. So
no, I would say, hey, the Ringer.
Yeah. Okay.
So here's what we should do then, because I think this emailer has a great point, is let's just strip the paint from the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel and put a screen up there and just project 28 years later and that trilogy on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel where it belongs, because it's the highest level of art that anybody could reach. So let's do that. I think that's honestly what I think they should do, because that's what I think of these movies. Yes, of course, they're such great art, right? This zombie movie released by Sony Pictures to try and create a franchise is the most beautiful piece of art that this whole country, this whole world is creating. So let's just do that.
How about this? I love that. I love replacing the Sistine Chapel painting with zombies. Michelangelo's David, one of the most famous statues of all time. In these 28 years later movies, which you haven't seen, jackass, there is the alpha zombie who walks around ripping heads off, and he's got his big dong out the entire movie. That's the alpha zombie. His whole thing is big old swinging dongaroo.
Yeah, like most great art has a giant elephant-dicked zombie in it.
Well, that is the evolution of art. So I think we replace David with the alpha zombie from 28 years later.
Sure, why not?
Take David, put him in the basement with your old pianos, and put a statue of the alpha zombie there.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
Let's replace all art with merch from these Sony franchised zombie films.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. The Mona Lisa's got to go.
Oh, so is Karate Kid Legends, is that all? So I would ask this email, is that also a work of art?
Email us back. The great Haddock. Let us know if Sony's Karate Kid reboot is also great art.
Yeah.
So great email there. got an email from wannabe oh boy Jimmy.
Okay. They're really
So
coming out of the woodwork, aren't they?
he says, "Hey guys, a few weeks ago you discussed the need for more PLF screens to be added across the country, but you never covered how Cinemark is adding 3 new 70 millimeter IMAX screens this year." Sends a Variety article. I did peruse this Variety article, and yes, Cinemark is adding lots of new PLFs. They are adding 3 to 4 new IMAXs ahead of let's see, it is 3 new 70 millimeter projection systems and 4 new IMAXs with laser systems in the US, and it's upgrading its current 12 IMAX screens to IMAX with a laser. So this is all ahead of the Odyssey. And then the emailer wannabe oh boy Jimmy continues, "One of these screens is my local theater in the birthplace of film, Rochester, New York. Local news has covered it and is expecting more media coverage as the Odyssey gets closer." And then this email was from a week or so ago. And he continues, "Also, my wife, age range 30 to 35, went this past Saturday to see The Housemaid. We're at a book club. She reported at least 2 other large groups, presumably book clubs, of women were in attendance. Turns out Clayton's prognostication was entirely correct. The gaggles of women are flocking. Here's to a healthy box office. Wannabe oh boy Jimmy." So there,
So
report
Jimmy is a
from
true
Jimmy.
fan. I see. Okay, so Jimmy is what we call a true fan. Thank you, Jimmy.
I think all of these emailers have been fantastic today. So big news. Yeah, I mean, this is what we've been pushing. The theaters have to build more IMAX screens, build more PLFs. The Odyssey really could be it. Listen, we'd want to see groundbreaking on hundreds of new IMAXs right
That's
now.
the thing. This is great, but this is small potatoes for what we want. You know, we're glad Jimmy is going to be able to see, go to his local theater and see the Odyssey the way it should be seen, but not everybody's going to be as lucky.
Do we? He talked about the local media coverage in Rochester. Do we, the BO boys, go out to Rochester
Okay.
for the opening of this new Cinemark IMAX film? Because obviously we've been the inspiration. We've been at the forefront of pushing for more IMAXs to be built. Do we give this local media thrill? We show up there, maybe take over the newscast. Let's be honest. Just get behind the desk, push aside the local anchors who are, they're out there. They think they're going to get called up to New York City to be on WNBC, but probably not.
Yeah.
We go to Rochester and we do the news and we cover this IMAX opening story.
We'll have to do a Baba Booey, Howard Stern's penis first.
Okay.
Then we push them out of the way, and then we start talking about the IMAXs for sure.
Sure. And we'll do the whole newscast. We'll talk about the IMAX. That's your first story. That's 20 to 30 minutes easy on just the IMAX. And then we'll do the rest of the newscast. We'll do the local scores, local weather, whatever. Someone opened up a candy store, cat got saved from a tree, whatever they talk about on the news in Rochester. We'll just do the whole telecast. It'll have to be longer than usual. We want at least 2 to 3 hours to do the news. But we'll do that. We will come to Rochester.
Well, we'd have to open the mailbag if we're there.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Hopefully we've got some new emails from wannabe oh boy Haddock, from Bailey, from everyone. Let's see. Last thing here. Now, this is an email from a wannabe oh boy legend, wannabe oh boy Anthony from LA. Saw him at the live show in LA a while ago. Great man. So he writes, LABO over NYBO. And he writes, because you are YouTubers, hey guys, with the recent news that the AMC Burbank 16 was the most profitable theater of 2025, I think it's time we anoint Los Angeles as the box office capital of the whole wide world. I know you guys claim that the AMC Lincoln is the greatest theater in the country, but sorry, guys, facts are facts. Face it, Los Angeles just loves BO more than New York. Better luck this year. In the meantime, you can send all flowers to the AMC Burbank 16, courtesy of our Batman statue that sits outside our theater and protects us all. Wanna BO people. Smell you at the BO. Wanna BO boy, Anthony. All right. Clayton, of course, I am a New Yorker. You are a guy who's lived in New York for a while.
Mm-hmm.
How do you take that? The news that the Burbank 16 was the, I guess, highest. He said most profitable. I don't know what profitable means here. Are we counting revenue of the theater versus the cost of the electric bill? I mean, rents in New York are higher than anywhere else. So
Yeah.
Are you going to hold that against the AMC Lincoln Theater, that the rents are too damn high? So I don't know what profitable means, but listen, Burbank and those LA theaters, they make a lot of BO bucks. Is LA the BO capital of the world?
I mean, listen, we're a numbers podcast.
Yeah.
And if these numbers are true, which I don't know that they are, right? If the theater makes more money than New York, then yeah, I guess it has to be the BO capital, right? I mean, we have to be honest. We have to be consistent with our belief system, which is the more money, the better, right?
Right.
But are we talking ticket sales only? Like, because, listen, you go to California, and these weirdos are on probiotic diets. They're, sneaking stuff in from, high-end grocery stores. What's the one that we like the smoothies from?
We get our smoothies from Erewhon when we visit LA.
So they're sneaking in Erewhon smoothies. I bet you if we added into that how many big, large popcorns, how many Raisinets,
Mike and Ike's,
how many Mike and Ike's, how many large sodas people in New York get, we would be more profitable, and that is part of it.
Yeah.
I guarantee they're not counting these ham and eggers who were just up on a skyscraper sitting on a beam. They come down and they're voraciously hungry and they have their dinner at the AMC.
Yeah. That they bought at the AMC. These are New Yorkers.
Yes.
So because
hot dogs, nachos,
right,
pretzel bites.
Right. Well, because in the movie theaters, they're selling the foods that New Yorkers would want to eat anyway. They're selling, like you said, hot dogs, personal pizzas, pretzel bites, pretzels.
All those are
New York
available
foods.
within walking distance, that you can walk anywhere in New York and get those things, but you can only get them all in one place at the movie theater.
Exactly. So New York theaters are giving New Yorkers New York food, so they'll buy them in the movie theater. In LA, AMC theaters, they're not selling the one almond, the one diced up piece of lettuce, the Erewhon smoothie. Those are the foods that LAers subsist on.
And are they getting their Ozempics from the theater? Is that how they're gaming the system? Can you buy Ozempic at the Burbank AMC?
That's a great idea.
Meghan Trainor got her Ozempic?
It's a great idea just in general.
I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm just saying we're talking numbers here.
We're talking numbers right now, probably not. So that probably doesn't help the LA theaters. But I think in general, yes, we've talked about how there needs to be gambling in the theaters, and there should be prescription drug pickups for sure in these theaters. So I'm not ready to anoint LA the BO capital of the world. Also, he was doing a 1-to-1 theater comparison. Anthony was saying the Burbank was the number one theater. Okay, let's continue through that top 10. And I don't have it in front of me, but I'm willing to bet that the AMC Times Square, the Regal Times Square, the Regal Union Square, those are probably pretty high ranking. And listen, AMC, the Grove in LA, that's a big one. There's other big AMCs, but my bet is that when you go in that top 10, you're going to have multiple New York City theaters in that top 10 list, top 20 list, because we just have so many places where the people converge in New York City. So yeah, we'll see. Listen, here's the thing. BO is BO, and I love to see that the people in LA are still going to the movie theater.
And competition is good.
Yes. Keep New York on our toes. We're number one, but nip at our toes a little bit. We like it.
Yeah.
So that is all I got. Incredible emails up and down the mailbag. So keep sending us emails, the theboboyspodcast at gmail.com. We love getting your emails, your boots on the ground reporting, your predictions. You want to call Clayton a jackass, go for it. I'll read that. So that's the theboboyspodcast at gmail.com. Follow us on social media at the BOBoys Pod, Instagram, TikTok. Wanna BO, VP of Interns Christopher. He's killing it with these vertical clips. 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to the Substack. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are YouTubers. Hey, guys. And Clayton, that is all I got for you on this episode. I am spent.
Pat, you've said it all.
Great.
You've denied even more, 834.
Not a rallying cry. Absolutely not.
There's nothing left to be said.
Great. So I could leave now.
Except for until next time.
We'll smell you at the box office.
Nailed it.